The questions we've been trying to answer is, why don't more companies do sales training? After 16 years in the business, we're ready to release our findings, and our findings are because sales training sucks. That may be a bit of a flippant answer. Obviously not all sales training sucks, but it's not all great, right? So here's, I think, 3 reasons why more companies don't do sales training are, it's never worked before, it's expensive, and it does come with risk because it might fail, right? It might fail, exposing the leader to, you might reflect badly on him, and the leader might get fired for doing it. I actually think you might get fired for not doing it. So it's a bit of a rock between a rock and a hard place. But we tend to accept what's going on. We live with the status quo and nothing happens because, if you don't make a decision, you never make a wrong decision. So nothing happens. And of course, the sales force, they're not likely to say, hey, we'd like some sales training, because that would admit they're not very good at their jobs or they need help, which they're never going to do. So there's a little bit of stuff going on with sales training. We think a couple of other reasons why sales training hasn't worked is maybe the wrong people are leading it. In a lot of companies we work with, the trainers do the sales training. They're very good technical trainers. They're very good with the PowerPoint. They're not very good with sales skills. And I think you do need someone out there who does pretty good at sales skills. And then you absolutely need to know what, you're targeting the right skills. So if you want to start looking at doing some sales training, here's 2 things we definitely think you should think about first. The first thing is you've got to know what a good job looks like, and you've got to know what skills you're trying to improve. Let's talk about the first one first. Knowing what a good job looks like. So take a look at the top 20% of the sales force, the very best people in your sales force, and take a look at all the things they do, all the skills they do. How do they pre-call plan? How do they build rapport with their customers? How do they gain control of a meeting and set an agenda and position the company? What questions do they ask that really elicit the best answers? How do they present the products and services? How do they address concerns? And how do they, what's their closing strategy? Take a look at all those things. Then once you understand what the best people are doing, take a look at the 80% of the sales force who maybe aren't being quite successful, and take a look, see what the skill gaps are, and then figure out what the skill gaps. You can't probably fill them all, but you can certainly fill 4 or 5 of the skill gaps and train them on something. But again, the most important thing to do once you decide what skills we want to teach is who's teaching it, because it's got to be an interactive training. It's got to be someone who's as good a salesperson as the top 20%, or you lose those people, and then you're back to what you have now, people napping in the back of the class, everyone bored to death. So you've got to have a trainer who's interactive, who can lead real life scenarios and help them practice the skills they're actually going to do in front of customers. It's got to be that, or there's absolutely no point doing it. So work on the skills, work on interaction, get the right people in place, but take a look at that. Make sure you know what a good job looks like. Make sure you know what skills you're trying to train. Then maybe sales training won't